Today, I'm talking to Geoff, a lorry driver, a dad, and someone who spent 34 years not knowing why his brain worked the way it did. He describes losing pretty much everything before he finally got his ADHD diagnosis. And what he said about that, about the grief of it, about the RSD, about what changed the day his brain finally went quiet, I think it's going to stay with a lot of you. This one's for anyone who's ever been told they're just a bit much.
So I'm Geoff. I'm 34 years old. I'm a lorry driver. I recently got diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 34. Um, yeah, it's caused havoc through my life, I guess. I've got two kids, stuff like that. Just a general guy. To be fair, I like hiking, things like that.
Amazing. And when was it that you first started wondering if ADHD might be a part of your story then?
Um, I guess this year, to be fair. I mean, there's been moments in the past where people have, just joked about, oh, you've got ADHD and now, but you don't take it serious at the time. You just think, nah, I'm just, just a bit silly sometimes kind of thing. But yeah, it took pretty much, I lost pretty much everything last year. Everything I'd built, everything, just because of my impulsiveness and stuff like that. And yeah, I went to a really, really dark place. And I just thought something has to change. I got told by the doctors that it could possibly be ADHD and stuff. So they said to me, "Oh, it's going to be 4 or 5 year wait." And I was like, "I can't wait that long." So I went private. I did. Luckily, I was in the position to pay for it, and I had an assessment the week after, pretty much. So really quick.
Amazing. And I'm so sorry about how it kind of all transpired. But I guess once you've gone through that diagnosis process, like it doesn't just end there either, does it? Because it's not like you get that diagnosis and then suddenly everything's like bright and rosy again. Or have you
No,
found it different?
it's one of them. You get the news and everything makes sense pretty much. It can't excuse all of the wrong you've done in your life and stuff like that, but it gives you a bit of a reasoning to why your brain worked the way it did in them situations, if you know what I mean. Uh, it answers so much, and you can kind of stop blaming yourself for so much, if you get what I mean. But at the same time, the grief of actually finding out that killed me for a couple of weeks. Like, it was thinking, oh, this my life could have been like this if I'd got recognised when I was a child and stuff. And yeah, it was hard. I was replaying pretty much every moment in my life, to be honest. And just been like, everything could have been so different if someone had figured it out. But because I'm inattentive and I'm not the standard hyperactive, it's one of the harder ones to see, isn't it? So yeah, it goes under the radar quite easily.
Absolutely, it does. And then, so you mentioned then about when you were a child. So being in school and things like that, did it not pay like the stereotypical boy version that we see? Was it very different for you in school? Were you able to kind of, I guess, mask and make it through the school day?
Yeah, I think like when I was in primary school, it wasn't so bad because I had like, I fitted in quite well with friends and stuff like that. Uh, so I still even like from what I can remember, I always felt like I was different even back then. But I wasn't the typical hyperactive, being naughty all the time. And obviously, I'm quite smart as well. So I guess it didn't get recognised. And obviously, at the time when I was a child, I had quite a rough childhood. I was in care for a little bit and stuff like that. So I guess even if I did show signs, they probably would have put it down to stress from all of that situation, kind of thing. So yeah, pretty much, I don't think I ever stood a chance of getting diagnosed at that age. Um, and then when I started secondary school, uh, that was I'd say harder because yeah, I'd always be trying to mask and trying to fit in and stuff. Um, and to be fair, some kids used to take the piss out of my name and that because it's like an old style name. So obviously with that on the top and not being able to regulate my own emotions properly and stuff, I did end up just being silly sometimes in class, just to get out and stuff. Um, but it's always been one of them. Like now you look back, you was always masking who you was, kind of thing, 100%.
And do you think, had that diagnosis have come earlier for yourself, do you think it would have potentially changed the trajectory of your life?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Yeah. A lot of the things I've done over the years, it's just been dopamine chasing and, you know, reacting without thinking about stuff. And, since I've been on Elvanse, that's calmed down so much. And yeah, if I believe if someone picked it up when I was a child, my life would have been so much different for sure.
Have you got any examples that you can share with us of the dopamine chasing?
Um, so buying stuff impulsively, just making silly decisions like that. Um, obviously doing something impulsive and then keeping it to myself because I just because of the RSD and stuff, you don't want to risk putting yourself in a situation where, somebody could, just leave you and stuff like that kind of thing. Yeah, so it's been loads. Even like, I've smoked pretty much most of my life, and I guess that was a way of kind of regulating my dopamine as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
calms you.
there's been loads of different things.
Yeah. And then as you say, like, so now you've gone on to medication, you're currently on Elvanse. Are you currently still in a titration phase?
I am at the minute, yeah. I started 70 just over a week ago. So that's been going well, but I'm not sure if maybe it might be a little bit too much for me, just because every now and again I feel a little bit too overstimulated, if you get what I mean. But obviously, we're only into a week, aren't we? So I give it another week or whatever, and see if it levels off a bit. But all in all, it's better than 50 because that just wasn't lasting as long. So it might be the case if the overstimulation bit goes on, then I can drop down to 60 because I've never tried 60. Yeah, that's what titration's for, though, innit? I guess, because there's so many different variations of doses and stuff, isn't there?
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you decided, or when you were first confronted about the idea of sort of going on medication, was it even a thought for you that you were like going to be on it?
See, before I had my ADHD diagnosis, I was always against medication because my dad and stuff, he's been on antidepressants most of his life. Um, and he's just not very good, if you know what I mean. So I always thought, being on them so long had changed the way his brain works and stuff. But I don't know, something just changed in my brain when I got my diagnosis. I just knew that I had to do whatever was necessary to try and turn my life around, if you know what I mean. So I was willing to try anything, and I'm obviously so glad I did because the first day I took the medication was unreal. Like my brain just turned on, like literally, it's crazy. I spent the whole day cleaning my house and just listening to music. I didn't get annoyed once, which is was a big thing for me. Just moaning about little things because I'll be burnt out and stuff, and yeah, just coming across as a miserable guy. When deep down, that's not who I am. I'm a bubbly, happy, like to be silly kind of guy.
Absolutely. I'm actually also currently titrating at the moment. I'm on Medicanet. And that first day, like, I can't even explain, like, almost like the euphoric feeling that I had. Like, the sky was like the bluest that I could ever have seen it. Like, I
Hmm.
almost felt like just so much lighter in myself. And it did, like, that uplift. And like you say, because oh my gosh, I've got 3 kids, and the snappiness that comes,
Yeah.
which you never really realize, do you, as a parent, that you're snapping because actually we're dysregulated as well.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Did your brain go quiet as well? Because my mind just, as soon as it kicked in, it was crazy. I could actually just think about one thing for the first time in my entire life instead of having so much going on. But I never knew that was any different to anyone else at the time. I always thought that's how everyone I thought.
Absolutely.
But
Like your brain just never shuts down. It's crazy, isn't it?
yeah.
But yeah,
Hmm.
what then I did find, and I don't know if you found the same, is that once, and I guess this is the whole titration thing, like as the weeks kind of go on, and I think I was on my first dose for maybe 2 weeks. And then I kind of got a bit of a kickback towards the end, sort of exhaustion would just suddenly set in. It was insane. Did you get any sort of side effects like that?
Yeah, that was pretty much the only side effect I did get. I had a tiny bit of dry mouth on the first couple of days when I take a new dose, but that's it really. But yeah, the crashing of that was my issue. It was about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and I just all of a sudden start yawning and start turning a bit dopey like my normal self. And yeah, I was like, that needs to be gone. You at least want it till bedtime, don't you? You know what I mean? That's why I find a lot of people asking questions like, "Oh, it didn't work for me," and stuff like that. But that's why there's so many different ADHD medication nowadays, isn't there? We're all wired differently, you know. So we all respond different to different medications, don't we?
Absolutely, we do. And I think that's quite an interesting one as well, isn't it? Because we're going through it and you're being guided by professionals, and I'm assuming you're also doing that privately, as that's how you got um
Yeah.
your assessment. Like, how have you found that process as well? How often are you being sort of checked in on and
Well,
things?
I'm speaking to them pretty much every week. I'm having a bit of ADHD coaching and stuff like that. Yeah, and I think my ADHD, my medication reviews are like every 5 to 6 weeks, unless I bring up an issue and they'll bring an appointment up within a couple of days, kind of thing, to discuss it. Which is what I did when I was on 50, and I had an appointment within about 3 days. So it's not too bad. It's quite quick, in all fairness.
No, that's really good. And have you found, because obviously, so your job, you're a lorry driver, and I know that some of the shifts that you might put in can be sort of really, really long days, can't they? I don't know how far you're kind of driving across country or maybe even into other countries as well. But have you found, has it made a difference with your work? What was it like pre and post?
So when I first started lorry driving, which was about 6 years ago, I really enjoyed it and that for a bit. You know, it was something new, and I was on there and listening to music and that. But like before my diagnosis, I'd say the last year and a half, I just really didn't enjoy it anymore. It just lost its spark, kind of thing. And I kept thinking about changing jobs. I did change jobs a few times, and I was always like, oh, maybe I need a different career. But I know now I don't know, I was just in some ADHD, burnout, depression kind of thing, you know, and yeah, I had no spark in me for anything, to be honest. And then when I took medication, I actually found that when I went back to work, that I really enjoyed the job again. You know, I do like 12, 13 hours a day, but I'm fine. I can just crack on. Start about 4 in the morning or whatever. So I don't normally take my medication till about 7. But yeah, I'm normally all good. Like, and yeah, it's good that I've got my enjoyment back in the job, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
a lot changed.
And have other people around you noticed the difference as well?
Yeah, people at work have said like, so I used to talk to people, but I'd never put myself out there, if you know what I mean, to make friends and stuff like that. And a few lads at work have said they can see the difference in me. I'm a lot more approachable. They always liked me, kind of thing, but they never knew what kind of side they would get of me before. If it was going to be happy me or grumpy me, kind of thing. Yeah. So, and we've all arranged a charity walk for next week. It's the first one I've arranged for a children's hospice. So we're all doing that kind of thing. So that's a nice thing to be doing.
That's amazing. How far is the walk?
It's about 17 miles. It's the SAS route of Penny-Fan. So quite
Amazing.
a brutal day, but we'll
Yeah.
be all right.
And I guess actually on that, so for you actually, the outdoors is really important for you. I see it across your TikTok quite a lot. You're out, you're hiking. And do you think as well that has quite a big impact in terms of sort of your mental well-being?
Yeah, to be honest, I only started doing stuff like that this year. Um, it was before my diagnosis, and obviously I was trying to wrap my head around on what the hell was going on with my life and stuff like that. And obviously I started doing hikes and going up mountains and stuff, and I felt that that really helped. And when I'm hiking and stuff, I don't seem to be thinking about all the silly things and that. I'm just at peace kind of thing. So that definitely helps regulate your dopamine and stuff and make you feel better, 100%.
That's really good. And then for you, I guess, what's the sort of thing that you wish that you had have known about yourself earlier?
Um, I guess the RSD and stuff, that was the worst one for me. That it wasn't just I was overreacting to stuff and I had some kind of problem like being a jealous person and impulsive stuff like that, and the way I reacted to stuff. That it wasn't because of who I am, it was because of how my brain was going into fight or flight mode in these situations and giving me the worst outcome no matter what was in front of me kind of thing. But yeah, that was 100%. I'd say the worst bit for me was the RSD loops and stuff.
And have you found, has that eased since you've been sort of either medication or just a diagnosis? Because now I guess as well, there's a certain amount of self awareness that comes with it as well, isn't there?
Yeah, well, when I was first diagnosed with the grief and everything, I think the RSD got a lot worse, and I was looping my entire life for weeks and weeks and weeks, to be honest. And then obviously after I started medication, I haven't really had any RSD, to be honest. I can just take certain situations now. I can actually think about them and just go, no, that don't make sense, and just forget about it, kind of thing. I can actually react with the facts instead of reacting with what my nervous system's trying to do, kind of thing. So it's a lot different.
That's actually really amazing and a real flip, then, isn't it?
100%,
Just,
yeah.
yeah, just from sort of the medication, I guess, self awareness as well.
I used to think I had a lot of anxiety all the time as well, but it wasn't anxiety. It was just, it was, I guess, years and years of self doubt and stuff like that, and these RSD loops just burning you out and stuff like that. Because as soon as I took this medication, I haven't felt literally a single ounce of anxiety, nothing. So it was always a dopamine regulation issue.
Yeah, which is really tough. And you mentioned as well that you're having some ADHD coaching. So
hmm
if you just explain to people what is that and how does it help you?
So it's basically, so obviously normal neurotypicals have got their way of life, which is pretty much the standard for everything in this world. And obviously we run on a slightly different system, don't we? So, even though we've got medication, we're still going to be forgetful about certain things and stuff like that. It's not a miracle cure. So coaching's basically just it explains how your brain actually works and the best kind of techniques to set your life up to make your life more easier and manageable and stuff like that. And, just emotions, everything, it's a bit of everything in it, really.
And is there a particular tip or technique that's stuck with you?
Um, I guess with forgetting stuff, because I'm very good at going to work in the morning and forgetting certain things and getting halfway to work and shouting like, oh my God. Um, so I'd say, so obviously you're always going to need your car keys and stuff like that. So, if it's something like you forget your food for work and stuff, put your car keys on top of the fridge or something like that, so you've literally got to go to the fridge and get your keys. And if you still forget it, then that's your own fault, and it kind of thing. But yeah.
It's something that we've all had to deal with for a very long time, though, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah, I forget lots of stuff, and sometimes you forget you forget important stuff, and then it makes you look like a bad person. And it's not that you don't care; it's just the way your brain works sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you say then that probably the thing that's come out of all of this for you is obviously it's helped you turn your life around, but ultimately perhaps that you've learned to be a bit kinder to yourself?
Yeah, I got a long way to go before my life's turned around by any means, but I'm making good progress on that regard. Yeah, and it's nice to be able to control my emotions and actually be the person that I want to be and stuff. And I'm not going to be masking who I am anymore and stuff like that. I really don't care, to be honest. If you like me for who I am or you don't like me at all, kind of thing, you can't hurt my feelings anymore because RSD's not there anymore and stuff. So.
It's really important. And what was it that made you sort of think that you're going to start posting your journey over on TikTok?
Um, It's just how it's affected me so much over the years and all the pain I had growing up and, through relationships and stuff like that and losing all of the stuff I've lost over the years. I just thought it's not right that I was missed as a child and stuff like that just because I'm inattentive. Because if I was hyperactive, I guarantee someone would have seen it, wouldn't they? Uh, which I think is the same case for a lot of girls, isn't it? Mainly girls are good at masking and they don't show hyperactivity, do they? So yeah, it's just yeah. I just want to get my stuff out there. So if young kids or parents or adults or whatever just come across my video and go, "That's exactly how I feel," and they go and get a diagnosis, and the earlier they can get it done, the less years of pain and torment they're gonna have, and maybe they won't lose as much as I lost over the years, kind of thing. So it's just about awareness and stuff and trying to get the message out because a lot of people just think ADHD is just something, just a little bit of a naughty kid, and that it's not. It's so much more. So there just needs to be a lot more education on it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And with your work as well, have they been really supportive of sort of the diagnosis and have they had to make any adjustments or anything for you?
Um, they haven't really had to make any adjustments. I'm allowed to drive on my medication as long as I don't get tired and stuff like that. They did give me a bit of time off when I had my diagnosis and stuff like that because obviously my head just went out of this world kind of thing for a little bit. So yeah, but apart from that, no, it's just been work as normal.
Yeah. No, that's really good as well, isn't it? And at least but you've been able to be open and honest with them and it's that two-way dialogue, isn't it? And I guess where you're saying about the not masking anymore, that kind of really helps with that.
Yeah,
It's a huge part of your
exactly.
life, isn't it?
So that's why I've started doing. Well, I've been thinking about this charity walk and stuff like that because I've always wanted to be a person that shows my kids and stuff that you be kind and honest and help people and stuff. And before I just never had the motivation because I was every ounce of motivation I had was just going to work and just surviving and doing impulsive stuff just to keep my brain going and stuff. And now I can actually use my brain. I want to use it for good and help as many people as I can. So that goes in with the videos and, whatever I come up with in the future and things like that.
Yeah. I think it is, as I say, it's so important just to get, I think, as many different perspectives out there as we possibly can, because your diagnosis story to another will be light years apart. No stories are the same. And even the way that we display is so different, isn't it? I was just going to ask if you had anyone else in your life that had also had diagnoses.
Um, Not really, no. I mean, my little sister's got autism, but I never grew up with my little sister or anything because with our childhood and that she stayed in care and stuff. Um, so yeah, she's got autism, but it's quite a lot different to the way I am, kind of thing, if you know what I mean. So it didn't ring any bells with me. And it's about it. I've known a couple of kids growing up that have got ADHD, but they was always the classic ADHD where they was just hyperactive and naughty and stuff.
What sort of advice would you have for them if they feel as though your story is ringing true for them, or if they are just kind of on the fence, don't want to make that leap just yet.
Well, I guess just keep doing research, keep watching other people's experiences. Obviously, if you think there's a chance, get yourself on the NHS waiting list because that's going to take a while anyway. So you'll have plenty of time to think about it. And if it's causing major problems in your life and you can afford to go private, just get it done private, kind of thing, you know. Yeah, it can change your life 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And then, very, very last thing, how can people follow your story, Geoff?
Follow me on TikTok, I guess. So I'll carry on making videos, where when I've got time and stuff. Obviously, the hardest video I had to make at the minute was the RSD one. That was quite a massive hit, that was, and I can't believe how many people commented, reposted, liked it, everything, and they was all exactly the same. I had some people on there saying that they never knew what it was, and now they do, because I described exactly what they feel, and it's a hard video to make, but it's obviously has helped a lot of people kind of figure out and not feel alone by themselves and stuff. So obviously that's a nice feeling to have, that my videos are actually helping people. Except for when TikTok wants to, put my videos in TikTok jail and not give it a lot of views, but they'll get around someday, won't they?
No, I absolutely get that. I think sometimes where we're talking about actually quite deep and personal things, for some reason TikTok just doesn't want to show it, do they? They're like, yeah, this might be a bit too cutthroat for our audience. I don't know. That's my
Yeah, it's
only
weird, isn't it?
perception. But I think that's absolutely incredible that video has done so well for you. And I think it really highlights the importance of people putting their experience out there and what an impact that can have.
One of the next ones I definitely want to do is, obviously the signs I showed as a child with inattentive ADHD. But I'm not rushing that one. I'm thinking about it properly because I don't want to give people the wrong information on that kind of thing, I think that it's quite an important one because you don't want to put any kids through stress just because of something that's similar kind of thing. So yeah, I'm taking my time with that one. It's one it's one I want to get out as fast as possible, but one I don't want to rush, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Again, it's something that's really deeply personal to you as well, isn't it? So you've got to take your time with those sorts of things.
Yeah,
No, that's
100%.
really, really important. And thank you so much for coming on and talking to me today. I really, really do appreciate it.
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe we can have a rerun episode 2 in the future. Eh?